Welcome to the Simpler Business Podcast, where we talk about ways to do what you love and serve your people in a way that brings you income and freedom. I'm your host, Marissa Roberts. Join me as I chat with my favorite entrepreneurs about how they simplify their biz so that you can simplify yours. Back in 2011, I left corporate and started my first business, Beautifully Organised. I wanted more control over my time, to run my own schedule, and to work on my own terms. I wanted to be home for my young children instead of having to work long hours, evenings, and weekends. I wanted my work to fit around my life, and over the past 13 years, I've worked with a lot of small business owners who want that too. Now, for me, work-life balance was a windy road. Beautifully Organised started as an in-person service where I would go to other mums' homes and physically help them organise it so that their day would flow more smoothly around their young families. Here's how to set up your kitchen so making dinner at witching hour is easier. Here's how to set up your bathroom so it's quick and easy to clean right after bath time, that kind of thing. The ironic part was within just a couple of months, I was working just as long hours as I was before. I was away from my kids for the same amount of time, and I was responsible for everything, not just organising for my customers, but for the marketing, the sales, the customer service, everything. And I burnt out in a few months. My corporate job was inflexible, but at least it was a regular paycheck and I could turn off when I wasn't at work. If I wanted more balance, if I wanted to work in a way that aligned with my dream lifestyle rather than dictated what it would be like, I needed to be more strategic about how my business worked. So at that point, I decided to make some changes. It took a lot of trial and error, but these days, Beautifully Organised is an online business and I make money sharing my organising tips via courses instead of personally going into people's homes and organising them myself anymore. I have a very simple business model, and that's actually what freed me up to start the Simpler Business Podcast in the first place. I like to work a couple of hours a day, and I limit my private clients in this business to a handful so that I'm not overworked anymore. I also made a few other changes to my approach to running my businesses, and I thought that I would share them with you today in case you find them helpful. So yeah, here's what I do each year to run my two businesses and still have a life that I love with plenty of downtime. Now, the first thing I do is I get clear on my priorities and my planning. So every year I sit down and I clearly define both my personal and my business goals. And then I prioritize them based on how important they feel to me. And next, I develop a plan that's going to get me there, and I break that plan down into quarterly goals and actions. And I book time for those actions into my digital calendar as appointments so that I can't just flake out or procrastinate and not do them. So yeah, that's kind of that chunking it down is what makes that really effective. So I start with a big goal, but then I break it down into quarters, and then I break down those quarterly goals into actions, and it has to be actions that I can put in my calendar and see tangibly. That's what I find works really well for me. It creates a little bit of accountability and it keeps me motivated to keep going. And I don't just forget about my goals, which is something I used to do a lot. I'd make a goal at the start of the year, I'd get busy with day-to-day life, and I'd completely forget that that was even my goal. So now this prioritizing and planning works really, really well. The next thing I do is I stick to very, very simple time management techniques. Actually, just one. I block out 2 hours a day, 4 days a week into my workday, and that's where my quarterly actions fit in and any private client work that I'm doing. I streamline my work, and I'll share how to do that shortly, but essentially all the important things that I need to get done have to fit into those time blocks. And I never multitask anymore. I put my phone on silent, I put it away in a drawer or in a bag while I'm working, and I focus solely on the task I'm working on. And I also find, because I work at home, sometimes when you've been working at home a lot, you kind of get used to the surroundings and you're not as motivated in them, and you let yourself get distracted by things around you. So if I find I'm feeling that way, then I'll pack everything up and I'll go and work at the library, or I'll pack everything up and I'll go and work at a quiet cafe. And so I still enjoy my surroundings. I'll have a nice lunch while I'm out, but I'm still focused on the work that I'm doing. Okay, the next thing is, in order to keep my workload at 2 hours a day, I leverage automation and delegation. So I use automated systems like Book Like a Boss for client session bookings and podcast interviews. And that means I don't have to go back and forth over email or message anymore and go, what day are you free? What time's good for you? This time's good for me. Is it good for you? I cut out all of that. I use automated systems on Google Forms for my podcast interview bookings. So if a guest wants to come on the podcast, there's a form that they fill out, and all of the stuff, all of the information that I'd normally need from them in order to get their background and the details of their interview, they fill out all of it for me and I get it all in one go. Their headshot, their bio, the questions we're going to talk about. It all happens automatically behind the scenes so that I can just review it and show up and do the interview. I use Stripe subscriptions for most of my client payments now. I use Stripe for my automated payments as well, but my client payments that I used to invoice people for, I don't manually invoice very much anymore. I just have a handful of, like a couple of clients that still get manually invoiced, and I'm going to try and coax them over to Stripe subscriptions instead this year so that I'm not invoicing and following up on payments anymore. For my content, I schedule my content on socials and email, and I use template responses for common inquiries in my business or common things that I do in my business, like asking for a review after I've worked with somebody, or answering a customer issue email. Normally I would procrastinate on answering anything where a customer is not totally happy with something. I would just procrastinate on answering that email. Now I have templates so that I don't have to procrastinate. I just handle it in the moment and I'm done. If you would like those templates, let me know and I'll send you a copy. You can email me at marissa@beautifulyorganised.com and I'll send you those. I also love using AI as a starting point for some of my creative projects, and I've found that helps me overcome procrastination because AI, ChatGPT, I do love it. I know it's a bit of a love or hate thing. I love it because when I'm starting a creative writing project, for example, I hate looking at the blank screen. So if I take the bullet points of what I want to do and I put them into ChatGPT and I say, hey, Chat, I'm going to be working on this project and it involves this, this, and this. How should I get started? That gets the ball rolling for me. So it's not actually completing the project for me, because we all know now, after a couple of months of reading other people's AI blog posts, you can spot a ChatGPT blog post, right? It's always got something in it like, in the fast-paced world of this, or fosters a community, or it's not this, it's about this. We all know what an AI post looks and feels like. So I don't actually let AI do my creative writing, but I do let it start the ball rolling in terms of an outline or ideas, or where should I get started is my favorite thing to ask. So yeah, I use AI as a starting point for some of my projects. I found that really helps me get into that groove and get that momentum going. But I love the creative part of my work, so I'm never going to fully rely on AI, just enough to lighten my load a little, not take it over. And yeah, last year I also added a virtual assistant and a podcast producer to my team. They are both amazing. And this year my goal is to outsource more of the work for my own 2 businesses and some of my client work so I can focus on the strategy and the quality side of things and free up even more time. Okay, next, I'm getting better at setting boundaries. Time blocking really helps with this. And whenever I work with private clients, I now establish my office hours, for example, as part of their onboarding. I say no to requests that aren't aligned with my goals for the year. And I've gotten really good at things like the 3-line reply for emails. I find that the shorter the response, the more people take me seriously. And yeah, when I'm setting boundaries like that, those boundaries, they're for me, not for other people. So I always think of a boundary as, if this happens, then I'll do this. As opposed to what other people try with boundaries, which is, hey, they're not allowed to do that. So if they do that, that's going to tick me off, right? It's not about, can we control the other person? We don't set boundaries about controlling other people's behavior. We set boundaries about how, if something happens, this is how I'll react to it. That works really, really well. You can control boundaries that you set for yourself. And the rest, I let go. Guided meditation has helped me a lot with that. I just let go. I do a guided meditation. If there's something going on that's not going smoothly, I do a little guided meditation. I kind of shut my brain off and trust that my subconscious is going to take care of it for me. And the answer usually pops up. and it's a much more enjoyable, feel-good way to do it. Other things, I turn off most notifications on my phone so that people are welcome to message me whenever they want. They're welcome to email me whenever they want. But I only see those emails and those messages when I'm in work mode. Now, I should point out that I'm not perfect at this. When you're passionate about your work, especially creative work, it is hard to switch off completely. And, sometimes I have my best ideas when I'm relaxed and I'm not working. And then, I want to jot things down so I remember them later. And at times I can be working on a project that really lights me up, and I find myself checking like our WhatsApp group chat, for example, with the people I'm working with, and I'll check it throughout the day because I can't wait to see the next update or get an answer to a question. So yeah, I'm not perfect, but I am getting better at boundaries. It's still a work in progress, and I think it probably always will be as things change over time, and then, new boundaries are needed whenever things change. Okay, the next thing I do is I look after me. I'm the face of my businesses. And if my business, both of them, Beautifully Organised and the Simpler Business podcast and the work I do in relation to this, if my businesses are all about helping other people find easier ways to do things, how bad would it look if I was overworked, stressed, and rushed? So I found the better I treat myself, the easier work and life becomes. People treat me well when I treat myself well. When I talk about how I go to gold class movies during the week when everyone else is at work or at school, people start thinking about how much they'd like to do something similar for themselves. I like long lunches. I like getting my nails done. I like relaxing by the pool, reading a book, doing a puzzle, binge watching a show. I like spending time on TikTok. I like getting spa treatments and having long bubble baths. And when I feel happy and content, when I feel at ease, I do my best creative work. I solve problems more easily. I show up more consistently. So I book those self-care things and those enjoyable things into my calendar just like I would any other important appointment or meeting. I don't leave them till last. Start thinking of taking time for yourself, not as a luxury that will happen when you're not busy anymore, but as a necessity for maintaining your overall well-being and productivity. It will change your life. And the last thing I do is I add passive products to my business. I will die on this hill. If you do not have a passive product in your business yet, it doesn't matter what your business is. We will find something that you can add to it where you can earn an unlimited amount without doing extra work. I create and sell online courses, and I'm an affiliate for my favorite creators and my favorite entrepreneurs who I've bought and enjoyed courses or ebooks or did coaching with. I take the most popular things that I get asked by my private clients and I turn those into mini courses that anyone can take anytime. I take work that I've done previously and I turn that into template packs and I sell those to other service providers, other coaches, other course creators. I have absolutely no skills in design, but I have contacts for that who are very talented at it and are happy to pay me a percentage of purchases that I refer to them. Whenever I subscribe to a new software, I check to see if they have an affiliate program and I add them to my resources page on my website. I talk about them in my content and I'm clear about the fact that I get paid when people purchase using my links. I am open to money coming in easily in my business, and I love that I can create something once and sell it multiple times with no extra effort. You know what? That line I just said, we should make that an affirmation. Let's say it a couple more times. I'm open to money coming in easily in my business, and I love that I can create something once and sell it multiple times with no extra effort. One more time. I'm open to money coming in easily in my business, and I love that I can create something once and sell it multiple times with no extra effort. Doesn't that feel amazing? Let's do that for your business too. So those are my favorite ways to balance my businesses with my personal life. Right now is a really good time for you to take an afternoon and think about the work-life balance you're creating in your business too. What are the goals for your business? What does your ideal lifestyle look like? How can you make the two of those work together? What do you enjoy? How do you include more of that in your life? How can you make your business more profitable without working more? Well, talk to me about passive products is the first thing I would recommend. Or if you're feeling inspired to try any one of these ideas that I shared with you today, I would love to hear about it. So come and find me on Instagram. I'm at Marissa Roberts Official. Send me a DM. I would love to chat with you about it. And I'll see you in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Simpler Business Podcast. If you did, please subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to make it nice and easy for you, just the way we like it. If you're ready to simplify and scale your business, you can get started with my free audio class at marissaroberts.com. See you next time.